Hello, my friends, and welcome to part 103 of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Let's Play series. So, before I go into solo mode today, apparently there's gonna be a Forbidden Limitless updates. That's gonna be cool for all of you who play the ranked duels, or yeah, because that's really all it affects, just those ranked duels. Maybe the duel rooms too in a way, but you can always like make like other kinds of like limitless. You don't always have to adhere by the forbidden limitless. Unless you want to when you're with your friends. I guess this also kind of affects like being able to like craft other cards. So this kind of also affects like festivals and duel rooms in a way, since you have to like craft cards for use of those rooms as well, or special duels. And if you have like extra copies of the cards, you can like craft or like disenchant a few times to try to either get like foils of the cards, like if you want to do it that way, or like saving them to craft maybe other which I mean I would probably suggest like saving up the S on UR in order to craft like ones that you may need in the future anyway. I would suggest you doing it like that, since you can't continually like disenchant and then like recraft. I mean, you can do that a few times like if you want to, but it might be better just to like just have the copies you need for the SRs and URs and don't worry too much, especially if you're free to play. If you're not free to play, then it doesn't really matter, but I would say for free to play, like you kind of don't want to like do that sort of gamble when it comes to higher rated cards. Like rares and normals I'm fine, because usually like have a lot of extra normals and rare. Like you usually end up with that as your opening packs. But like the higher ratings, probably not so much. But yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like you'll probably like end up with extra CP if, as long as you have like extras of these cards, and like that can like affect like you being able to like craft stuff that are maybe needed, like if you don't want to just play one of the loner decks in the festival, or the like crafting for maybe like the ban cards so you can play them in the unlimited format for a duel room. But anyway, like it's not like, it doesn't look like too big of a ban list this time. Like they had like 2 ban lists back to back, and now they seem to be going a bit slower maybe. So they're just semi-limiting a few cards. The Long Yuan, I forget which one that is. I'm gonna look that up real quick. Is that the one where like it banishes a card? No. That's the main deck one. That's the main deck one where you can discard another Sword Soul monster from your hand, or maybe it's just Sword Soul card. Either one, and then you special summon himself, and then like you special summon a token. So that allows you to really easily go into your rank 10s, which is pretty nice. So you one less copy of that, but you're searching it pretty easily anyway with like the Sword Soul level 8 guy that you can easily get through like one of your level 4 Sword Soul monsters. Probably most likely the Sword Soul one where you like reveal one in your hand to special summon a token, and then you draw a card when it's used as thing too. And then branded opening affects branded decks a little bit. I'm not sure how much it'll change it. It drops their consistency a bit, but I believe they can like search their cards like pretty easily anyway, so like that's probably not going to really affect anything. And then Flow Wanderers, apparently like a lot of people are basically just taking out their terraforming for the map anyway. for like 3 copies of maps. So now you're just playing like 2 copies of map and like 1 terraforming. And the reason they were doing that is because the new card, the Flowandries and the Advent of Adventure, like, is also another search for the map. So there's so many ways to search for a map that you probably didn't really need to be playing like all of that before. But now, like, we're people are probably putting in terraforming back, which doesn't really matter for me because like I already had terraforming to begin with. So like, but that is a little bit of extra CP. Unfortunately, Flowandries and the Magnificent Map is a rare, I believe. Yeah, apparently that's a rare, so like that's not really gonna matter too much. I believe a lot of these are actually rares, except for maybe brand and opening. That might have been a little bit of a higher rarity. Actually, I forget what they are. Here, I'll check what they are. Oh yeah, and then the ones that the copies will be lifted, like that doesn't get you any like extra CP. It's only for the ones that like go from like 3 to 2 or something like that, for instance. It's only when they like actually hit down to a lower number, of course, which makes sense. Anyway, so here's the cards that will be lifted. So it looks like Sky Strikers are getting a little bit extra power. Of course, Prank Kids too, but like that's because they've been like hit a lot. And besides, a lot of people are really only playing 2 Roxys, like anyway. So that doesn't really matter too much. I think the people who will care the most at Roxys will be off the list is the people that are playing the Grass Looks Greener variant of the Prank Kids deck, which is actually a pretty good variant. So yeah, so that should be good for them. And then of course having more copies of Widow Anchor is good because that's a pretty good card. It negates effects and can take control of the monster if you can have 3 or more spells. So that's a good card for Sky Strikers. So now you don't really have to like. So now you may not have to like waste an engage search on that card. Like if like you have a better chance of just drawing into it. And then the Phantom Knights of Torn Scales helps out Phantom Knights a bit more. I'm not sure how many people play Torn Scales, but like, I mean, if it does get played, good for them. Good for that. I think that is one of the cards that does get played, which is why it was on the list. So I guess that makes Phantom Knights a bit better, which, I mean, I think that's fine because their best play around with the Gossiping Gossip Shadow into Rongo Miniad is like now like not very good since Gossiping is now banned. And then Virtual World, their like main card has been hit, so it's okay that they're getting a little bit of power too. So like these are probably fine hits. I don't think they are really gonna affect anything much. Like I think the ones getting extra power, that's gonna be nice, but like I think like the most powerful decks will like be about the same. Yeah. But cool for you if you're playing one of those like decks that like are getting a little bit of a buff. I'm gonna show off the cards that will hit, and I want to see like if any of them are. Oh yeah, by the way, I already showed this, but here's another. Actually, I did change up the Link Regulation deck up little bit. I decided to go for more of like a draw based hand trap style strategy. Because the Decode Talker is actually not too bad. I was thinking about it. This is actually a pretty good card. Like, especially if you can end on this and the Sunlight Wolf. I think it's probably better than like Transcode Talker plus the Sunlight Wolf. I mean, they can like target the stuff. But usually your opponent's getting rid of these in ways that like don't target anyway. So I think like this is probably more powerful most of the time. Because you get like a draw during your turn, then you get a draw during your opponent's turn. And then when you go again, like if this is still on the field, you get another draw. And so it may not seem like that, powerful, like paying 1,000 life points to draw a card. But like if this stays on the field, like you can get quite a few draws out of this. Like if this stays on the field, like for even just like one of your turn, one of your opponent's turn, then your turn again, like that's 3 draws already. And it gets more powerful the longer it stays on the field. But in just one like basically round, which is like your turn, your opponent's turn, and then if it's your turn again, staying on the field, like that's already 3 draws. So like that's really nice. And then Flame Buffalo to like for even more draw power, since I'm trying to get into my hand traps as quickly as possible in this variant. This was a deck that I got from another YouTuber, which I'll shout out in the I'll shout out his name in the description, just like I did for the other guy. And then also I'm doing Call by the Grave and Crossout because I think these are actually really good. Crossout can like basically help me to unfortunately it's only at 1, but if I do draw it, then like I have a way of like counting the Nibiru, which is absolutely devastating for this deck. So I think that's really good that I now have a way to like deal with the Nibiru. I may be only 1, like literally just 1 card to deal with the Nibiru, but it's better than nothing. And then 2 Call by the Grave to like deal with like other hand traps. But I think it's really also Call by the Grave is really good with dealing with Max C, which I think is like the second worst hand trap against this deck, because this deck wants to special summon so much. So yeah, I think having now ways to deal with them. Also Ash Blossom deals with Max C too, which is kind of nice. So just having ways to deal with those, I think is really nice now. Like more ways to deal with those, and actually one way to deal with the Nibiru is better than nothing. I didn't have any ways like of dealing with the Nibiru with that other variant. Okay. Anyway, so that's the new and improved deck right there. And now I'll look at the cards that were hit, or are about to be hit anyway. And remember, you have a month to like get the bonus. Okay, so yeah, it's a rare. And how you do it is you have to press the dismantle first. Like I know it. See, that's why I like never like realized like how I do it, because you never because at least in my opinion, you never think to press the dismantle. Like usually you only press the dismantle if you want to dismantle the card, and it doesn't show the bonus. So like that's what at least in my opinion is weird for me. But like you have to do the dismantle, and then only then will it show up. Will it give you the option whether you want to dismantle it for just regular or dismantle it for the bonus. Yeah. See, that's where I got lost. Yeah, I know the Roxy's. Wait, no, it's not Roxy's. It's a map. I know the map is rare, but I can like prove that. I wonder if the opening is rare. It's a higher rarity. Okay, that's a normal. So they're just hitting a bunch of normals and rares this time. Yeah, they're just hitting a bunch of normals and rares this time. This is the one that either searches for special summons a Death Spear monster from your deck. And also like it has a fusion protection as well. So I guess at the same time fusions lose a little bit of protection with brand opening going down to 2. So yeah, but they're all normals and rares, so they're not really gonna be affecting your CP that much. But I think it's probably still worth it, because hey, like a little bit extra like rare normal CP is better than nothing. You might as well. And then the map should also be a rare. Unfortunately. There it is. Yeah, see, it's over there. Okay. And I think even if you, like, even if you don't have extra copies of the card, I still think it's worth it to, like, at the very least try dismantling the 3 to get extra CP, and then try, like, recrafting them again to see if you can get better rarities. Like, if you don't have royal finishes specifically of them, like, or if, like, you have a few that aren't royal finishes, you definitely still want to do that, because if you get better rarities, then you can, like, dismantle them later on for a bit extra, in case you maybe, like, no longer want to, like, play with that deck anymore. That's, like, in my opinion. But yeah, let's go into the solo mode now. Okay, so it took about 15 minutes to do all that. Not too bad. Let's see the solo mode. Okay. So I believe I finished everything here. Except for the My Deck duels, which I'll be doing later on. And then the Invincible Bee Troopers, I still can't open the gates, so it looks like I have to move on to the Mill. Oh yeah, which I've been doing a little bit of. Oh, I actually can't do the gate. Oh, that's right. So it looks like I'm actually moving on to the next one here, which is Vendreads. So the gate details read, the horror began when the city was shrouded in darkness. The Vendread are a race that increased in number as they attacked the living. While everyone else was gripped in despair, one man was compelled by vengeance to take a stand against the undead, even after becoming one of them. Oh, actually, this is a perfect gate for this month, since it's a little bit of a more horror-esque archetype, since they're, like, comprised of a bunch of zombies, which is, like, a perfect monster for Halloween time, which is coming up, like, within the next few weeks. So yeah, this is perfect. Here we go. So I get 150 dark orbs for clearing this one, which is fitting, since this archetype comprises of a bunch of dark attributes. And here's some of the other artworks that you'll be seeing. Yeah. So yeah, let's go into it. A few extra scenarios for this gate. Wow, there's quite a few. Dark Dead Vengeance is what it's called. Within the concrete jungle of high-rise buildings, the people hustled and bustled among the sleepless city night lights. That's a nice touch. You hear the car horns going. However, that was a long time ago. A darkness that shrouded the sky above turned the world into one that would never see morning come again. And with the darkness came monsters that threatened the peace of the city, the Vendreads. The Vendread stars corpses that crawled out of their graves, except their bodies had transformed into something grotesque. Without a single shred of their memories from their past life or any will of their own, they would wander the streets at night and attack any living human or animal in their path, guided only by their instinct. No firearm, tank, or any sort of modern weaponry could defeat these creatures. What's worse, anyone and anything that was unfortunate enough to become a victim of a Vendread would become one themselves. Ooh. The Vendread threat was like a match thrown into a forest, spreading fear like an uncontrollable blaze. As the undead continued to rapidly multiply, those remaining of flesh and blood scrambled fruitlessly for a solution. The Vendread hordes soon made their way to the hastily built wall that served as the sole line of defense for the living. Among them was a young man who had also lost his life to the undead. He was no different from the other Vendreads, wandering the same shrouded city with the same mindlessness. But as luck would have it, one day as the young man continued to drift about mindlessly, he came across a young woman who had been carried off by the Vendreads. His mind had already long faded, or it should have, but as his eye caught the locket that hung from the woman's neck, something stirred within him. Memories of his past life began to flood into his head in a great crashing wave. He knew the woman with the pendant before him. She had once been the love of his life. His mind twisted and turned with a desperate sadness as he realized that his love was no longer of this world. That sadness soon boiled over into a seething rage and hatred for the Vendreads that robbed her of her life. As his mind dragged itself out from the bogs of its undead depths, a flame of hatred ignited his heart. The violent burst of emotion tore his body apart with unbearable pain as it began to transform and rebuild itself into something much stronger. When the transformation ended, the man stayed his uneven breath and stood up. He took the locket and hung it around his neck so he could keep the memory of his beloved close by. Then he spoke into a silent night. I swear I will vanquish every last one of these walking corpses if it's the last thing I'll do. And thus the new agent of vengeance was born. He was a Vendread who would hunt the other Vendread. Vendread Slayer. This was beginning of the lone Revenger's fierce battle. It's funny that he's a Vendread Slayer and yet it takes Vendreads to make him. Like if you look here, I'm gonna show you a little bit. See, it takes a Vendread ritual spell in order to make him. So that's funny that like he's hunting Vendreads, and yet you have to use one of the Vendread ritual spells in order to make him. He's like an anti-Vendread, and yet he's using their. Maybe it's because like he's in disguise, and the Vendread don't realize they're he's hunting them. But anyway, I think what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna put a little bit of a warning note because that this episode might get a little bit spooky. Of course, it's a little late now since I already went through one of the scenarios, but I'll definitely leave a note. I forgot to say that before I did this, but that's what I was thinking about. Vendread Slayer. So there he is again. There's Vendread Knight, so like that's when he like more pops into action. I guess fine. There he is. He's like plummeting to the other Vendreads. Vendread Striges. Vendread Revenants. Vendread Chimera. Vendread reunion. And that's all of them. Okay. And you get 150 light orbs for completing this one. Maybe it's because it kind of like symbolizes like one of the Vendreads coming into light. Even in that day, the living struggled bravely from within the city wall to keep alive. The Vendread horde that pursued the living pushed against the barrier like crashing waves and showed no sign of ever stopping. Their numbers seemed to only be going up too. They continued to groan and wail deep into the night. Day after day, the terror was too much. The citizens were finding it harder and harder to keep sane under these horrific circumstances. But then, a single shadow loomed over the horde. The shadow darted forth and cut down a Vendread with a single swoop, quick as lightning. But he didn't stop there. Any Vendread that dare stand in his way would be stabbed, hit, kicked, and knocked down. They would have their limbs and rotting flesh torn, twisted, and ripped from their bodies. And once the shadow had finished hunting down every last walking corpse that plagued the city wall, he disappeared back into the darkness as quickly as he had appeared, not even sparing a single moment to look back at the crowd he had just saved. But the Vendread Slayer was not interested in being a hero. All he wanted was revenge, and he would not stop at anything to destroy any Vendread that entered his line of sight. But regardless of his intentions, the fact was that he swooped onto the scene like a bolt from the blue and defeated all the Vendreads. To the survivors, he was a single ray of hope. Word of the mysterious undead hunter began to spread quickly through the city. Yeah, see, that's probably why they're giving you light orbs for this one, to like kind of like signify that. As the nights continued, he too continued his battles. However, the Vendreads weren't going to stand for being hunted down so mercilessly. With the carnage, the undead began to change. Up until now, the humans and animals that turned into Vendreads had stayed about the same physical size as they had been when they passed. That was one of the main reasons the survivors had been able to keep the horde back with just their average human strength. However, now that the Vendreads were being pursued by a relentless executor in the form of a Vendread Slayer, they began to feel threatened. Some of them even began to merge with each other to create a bigger Vendread. That's where the Chimera comes into play. Few words could describe how grotesque it looked, and people began to name it after a certain multi-headed beast of legend. Yep. They called it the Vendread Chimera. The creature would threaten the safety of the people beyond the wall for many more nights. It possessed the powers and strengths of numerous Vendreads, and even the Slayer was beginning to have trouble finding it. Every time they battled, the Slayer would only just manage to fight it off. He was never successful in completely silencing it. However, the more they fought, the more weaknesses were uncovered. The Slayer found that within the Chimera, there lay a core that governed all its actions. The Slayer charged at the core and threw all his strength into it, destroying it. And finally, the Chimera crumbled into a pile of rotting flesh and bones. At first, it seemed that the Slayer's do-or-die attack had ended things once and for all, with the agglomeration of animosity that was the Chimera, but the tragedy would only further unfold from here. The clash in the undead would only escalate further and further into something beyond human comprehension. All the survivors could do was pray that one day the Vendread would be vanquished and dawn would break once more over the city. Yeah, I think I better do a warning like that. The story does get a bit graphic in its storytelling. Not like exactly in the pictures, but in the storytelling, where they're talking about like flesh and bones, and they're talking about like ripping up bodies like of the Vendreads, sort of. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna be putting in that warning. It's just a little minor warning though. Like I know like most of you will be able to handle it, but you know there may be that one person who isn't able to handle it, and I just want to make sure, because like I am opening my channel up to everyone, but I do understand that like that there are certain things that some people want to avoid. Okay, anyway, here is the here emerges. See, and that is exactly the for that sort of reason that this game needs to be rated teen. See, so if it's enough to get this game rated teen, then yeah, like I definitely should do my own part and give that warning, even if it maybe doesn't seem necessary. It's still good, I feel. Anyway, yeah, so you get a little bit of a hero card. Oh, I guess this is actually fitting. Like, I think this is more like for the I always thought of this more of like as a elemental hero, like Destiny hero, like line of card. But this also works for the Vendreads as well, since the Vendread Slayer was a Vendread turned into a hero. So yeah, this works for them. And since it's so generic, it doesn't matter that if it's like a reward within this story, since it can still be used in the Vendread archetype as well, because of its being generic. Yeah. But like you have to wait until your opponent declares an attack. So it's not really that great for competitive, since you want more like cards that like don't have like very specific activation windows. Or like, well, I guess you could consider like Solemn Judgment as like a specific activation window, but I'm talking about like Battle Phase. Battle Phase is usually the worst, like something that can only be used during an attack. It's generally not used, although like sometimes like there's a good card, but like it has to have a really good effect, and this card probably doesn't have a good enough effect in order to be worth using. Anyway, this is a Praxel, and of course it's difficulty 1, but because they can't like go any lower than 1, that's the reason why they have to do level 1 there. Even though it's not difficult at all, since you literally can't mess up, they force you to make the right moves. But they still have to like rate difficulty 1. And I guess I can see why it would be difficulty 1. Because you kind of like need to like understand some of the basics of how to like activate cards and like how to like play cards from your hand. So like not everyone will be able to like just pick up a Praxel and be able to like like if you gave this to one of your one of your friends like who's never played Yu-Gi-Oh, they might have a bit of problem being able to like navigate. Although like since it does tell you, but like maybe if they've never played a video game before or never played like on the system you're playing this on before, they might have a little bit of trouble navigating through and selecting the right cards. So I can see why it would be difficulty 1. What makes a Vendread deck unique? It's a deck based around ritual monsters. If you choose a non-ritual Vendread monster on the field to tribute excuse me, to tribute for a ritual summon, the ritual summon monster can gain additional effects, consume the powers of the dead, and the Vendread will grow even stronger. Oh, so that's basically what the rituals are signifying, that like they're basically consuming their brethren. Ritual summon Vendread Slayer and win the duel during this turn. If a Vendread monster such as Vendread Houndhorn is tributed from the field to ritual summon, the ritual summon monster gains a special effect. And see, that's where the consuming them and kind of gain their power like is like signified. So that's cool. Attack the opponent's monster is 0, but be careful of the cards send the opponent's bound trap zone. Deal with them by using the ritual monster that gained the effect listed on Vendread Houndhorn. Try summoning Vendread Houndhorn. Yeah, see the thing about it is it needs to be on the field. If it's not on the field, then it doesn't like gain that bonus effect. Activate Vendread Origin and ritual summon Vendread Slayer. See, like the one that I use in the hand, it won't be gaining this card's special ability. It has to be on the field first. So they're both level 3. See, it only gains the special ability of the Houndhorn, since that was the one that was on the field. You successfully ritual summon Vendread Slayer. Due to having used Vendread Houndhorn that was on the field, Vendread Slayer has gained an effect to banish a spell or trap on the opponent's field. Let's try activating that effect. Let's activate the effect that Vendread Slayer has gained. So it was that declare an attack with the against the opponent's monster with Vendread Slayer and activates its effect. Let's proceed to battle phase. So Vendread Slayer also has an effect. During damage calculation when battling an opponent's monster, Vendread Slayer can gain 300 attack if you banish one zombie type monster in your graveyard. Attack with the Vendread Slayer. Oh, is that signifying how they're how he's like trying to get rid of the Vendreads? Banish Vendread Revenants in the graveyard to activate the effect of Vendread Slayer. And maybe like as he's like getting rid of the Vendreads, he like is able to like believe in himself a lot more and be able to like know like, hey, like I'm like getting rid of these Vendreads, I can do it. Maybe it's to signify that. That's really cool. The attack gained from this effect will remain next turn and onward. If you battle an opponent's monster again next turn and later, you can aim to further increase its attack. Does it permanently gain the effect? If you're in a situation where you can activate the effect, actively engage in battle with the opponent's monsters. I need to see how this effect gain works real quick. Okay, I want to see how the effect gain works real quick. This game, yeah, so it keeps the 300 attack. Okay, so here we go. So here's the duel description. Vendread Origin can ritual summon a ritual monster from the graveyard. Even if Vendread Chimera is sent to the graveyard once it is ritual summoned, it may be ritual summoned again. If your opponent tributes Vendread Revenants on the field and ritual summons Vendread Chimera, your special summon monster will be banished. Dealing with the Vendread Revenants on the opponent's field is top priority. Also remember that Vendread Chimera will reduce the attack and defense of all monsters on your field by 500 if it is tributed or banished for a ritual summon. I know I said that I wouldn't be going for like with the reading off the duel description and the deck description anymore, but I think like since it only takes a little bit of time, I think I will. Oh, I get Zombie the Dark. I mean, at least it's a dark, but it doesn't really fit with the deck since it's not really since it's not even a zombie. It says cannot attack your opponent directly. If this card destroys a monster by battle, this card loses 200 attack. I believe this was a pretty good card for back in the day, but not so much anymore. Since you could like maybe like, but I think there's like even like better like ways of like chump blocking your opponent's monsters. And since this goes right down to 1900 if it's its first attack, like there were other monsters with like 1900 attacks that didn't need to worry about having the attacks lowered even further. So I'm not sure if he was even played back in the day. But like, I mean, at least if you have like skill drain, he might be like a worthy card to play, since he's a 2100 level 4 monster that will no longer be losing attack with skill drain on the field, and then he'll be able to attack directly if skill drain is on the field, which is pretty nice. But there's like a lot of other really good cards that go along with skill drain too, but like still not like when paired up with that, it's not too bad. Of course not nowadays, but maybe back in the day. So anyway, let's go into this. I'll show off the loan deck later in that Sunday video. Maybe not this Sunday video, but like whenever I get to it. So card destruction isn't too bad, but I think I'm gonna go with the pre-preparation of rites. So that lets me add a ritual spell and a ritual monster. Unfortunately, I can't actually go for the ritual summon since I only have the level 4 guy. Do I have a Link 1? I don't think I do. I don't think I'm gonna do the card destruction just yet. I'll just go with Mizuki and then end. No summon Mizuki and end my turn. It's a pretty good play. At least it has 1700 attack. That has to be from the graveyard. So that's why I wasn't able to add a ritual spell. Okay, so now I can do the Vendread Origin. But I better put this on the field first so that I get the effect. Oh, or I could just go for a Link summon and then like banish them from the graveyard. But I don't think so. I think I'm just gonna go for... Oh. Nah. I'm just gonna go for the ritual summon now. It's cool that I can like exceed. Okay, so now if I wanted to, I could banish this to special summon my other zombie. Which maybe I will, because then that's a little bit extra damage. Hopefully my opponent isn't playing but actually maybe I should battle first, because just in case my opponent is playing. Yeah, see. Now I'm glad that. Oh, cool, but now I get to add a ritual spell from my deck to my hand, then send a Vendread monster from my deck to a graveyard. So I can go for another ritual summon. Oh, wait, no, maybe not. I think this is that ritual spell is a hard once per turn. Oh, cool, it special summons itself. That's not bad. I kind of like this effect. Right there. Oh, I can't. This isn't a once per turn. Well, that's pretty nice. I think I'd rather do this one so I can get the effect. I don't really want to like discard one of. I don't really want to discard one of my Vendread spells. Actually, if I do this, yeah, I could just special summon the Slayer, but I think I'd rather do this one so that I can get the effect. This one will also. Wait, actually, I'm gonna do this because then I can get both out and like allow it to gain both effects. So yeah, now I can go for the other one. I will just discard that. And then I can go for this. And then I'll be able to allow both of these on there. I think. Or does he only gain the one? Oh, I guess that's only a once per turn thing. Well, that was a waste. Oh, well. Whatever. That's fine. Man, I didn't realize that was a once per turn thing. That was a waste. Oh, well, at least I can banish that. My opponent didn't do anything with these, so that's good. Yeah. Oh, wait, no, I must not have any left. I might as well do Monster Reborn now. Actually, yeah, no, I will do Monster Reborn. Because that 1800 is pretty nice. And now at least it'll put both of them in the graveyard. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Got both now. Nice. I can banish that. But I think I'm gonna have him activate first so that, yeah, discard X cost and now I can banish it. Manju to get that. Then gonna special summon. Go into Cerberus, dang it. But I can just protect him by banishing the origin. Okay, so now I can do the Mizuki. And I can go ahead and go for... I think I'll do Vampire Slayer, maybe? Yeah, Vampire Slayer. And then I might as well do this so that I can draw a card. Do the one with less attack. Oh, it has special summon defense. That's fine. Now I can do the Mizuki to special summon back this one. And then I can go for... Oh, I should have special summoned it to the... Whatever. Nah, never mind then. I could do card destruction. I think I will. Whatever. It sucks. I'll attack with the lesser one on this. I think I could have easily had game if I wouldn't have done that vampire sucker. Oh well. Or special summon so I could like point to it with the underclock taker. What does that do? Oh. No, I'm not going to. Okay, so it gets out another Vendread Chimera. Wait, what? Oh, cool. Oh boy. Cool, I get to read special summon out. And I believe... No, it doesn't trigger the vampire sucker. That's only when an opponent summons a zombie to his side of the field. I can do Pov Extravagance now. I think I might as well. Okay. Now I can do Vendread Knights. I guess I could do this one, yeah. I'll go for that. And I get to reveal one of my Vendreads to special summon it. Oh, nah. It must be a once per turn thing, but I can't draw because of Extravagance. Except zombie type monsters, okay. I don't think it really matters. I could do another... Could do a Gazuki. Maybe I will. And then I can special summon this, I guess. And then I can go for this one. And then that'll be game. I think. Yeah. Yeah, just going for game right there. So that's pretty nice. Okay. So there we have it. And I got the Zombira. Okay. And then I'll go ahead and do the Snarls in the next video. Right now, I'll go over a verse real quick. Once again, coming from YouVersion, as always. Or almost always. Fear of the Lord is the foundation of true knowledge, but fools despise wisdom and discipline. Proverbs 1:7. So this is a pretty looks like the key word according to YouVersion is knowledge, and I can see that because like you're basically wanting to focus on that word. And the knowledge here, like, it's not really referring to necessarily like knowledge according to world. It's more referring to spiritual knowledge, spiritual wisdom. And what basically what the Bible tells you. Like, so like if you're smart, you're gonna like not only read the Bible, but you're also gonna like try to gain true understanding from the Bible and try to like live by what the Bible tells you. So not just simply reading the words, but also living by them, like understanding them, maybe even memorizing a little bit of scripture, so that like you can like use it and remember it when you are in times of trouble. And I know not everyone really likes to like memorize scripture. I don't really like to memorize scripture all too much either. Not everyone does. But I try to like remember remember a few of the more important things as I read them. And I like do remember a few words from the Bible. I may not remember the exact place from where it comes from, but I do remember like some like verses, just at least a good snippet of them. So anyway, you can let me know what you think of that verse, but I'll go through a pack opening real quick as I'm saying my goodbyes. So I hope you enjoy. Please like, share, and subscribe, and consider commenting down below. And also I have something like that I thought about. Like, a lot of game designers seem to like really like having like monsters that have like multiple heads and multiple body parts. So if you like can think of your own game that like has a monster feature like that, you can let me know what your favorite game is that has that like a feature monster like that. And if it's this game, you can always feel free to say, hey, I like the Vendread Chimera. You can say that too. Or if there's another monster feature in Yu-Gi-Oh that has like that's consisting of that kind of sort of thing, you can always say that as well. That's like to give you an idea. If you want like to like, if you don't know what to comment, you can go ahead, feel free to comment that. Also, you can also just feel free to comment an emote, just to simply help the algorithm. If you like, oh cool, I got my first Mazda the Zapper. This is actually a pretty good card for like if you're trying to like get gems really quickly. Like, there's like a good OTK deck associated with this card, so I think this one's gonna be my favorite, the Monazar. But Cabazos was pretty good back in the day with that rescue rabbit. Get like 2 like Cabazos on the field, or like 2 other like level 4 dinosaurs on the field, and then go for those monsters. Anyway, that's gonna do it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. Bye everyone. Hope to see you in the next one.